Alright guys, I've never done this before, but I would like to share with you a way that we do venison. It's a lot different than most traditional ways. I actually had a good friend of mine who loves the Lord, Jamie Parrington, show me how to do this. He is a chef, and I asked him, hey, what's a unique way to make venison? And guess what? This is like my kids and our family's favorite way. So I just wanted to share it with you real quick. Alright, so what you do, typically you'd cut these in what we call butterflies, but instead you take a full back strap and you just cut it in half. So this was the back part of it. We just cut it in half, two different sections. And I'm going to cut it right down the center, kind of like a big old hot dog. And by doing this, we're actually going to stuff the venison with a few different things. Alright, what we're going to stuff it with is some blue cheese, some fresh basil, and if you have fresh garlic, like a garlic clove, it usually takes 2 to 3 little cloves that you can just crush up. But instead, if you don't, and we're just going to use this, probably about a half a teaspoon or maybe 1 full teaspoon will do. And here we go. Now, I probably have 12 or a dozen fresh basil leaves, medium to large size, and I just stacked them together. Now I'm just going to roll them up super tight. Now you don't have to use this much for the initial part of it, but we're going to use a lot of it when we make the red wine sauce, and I'll show you guys how to do that in a second. Okay, so this is what it looks like when we half them. I did them to both. You want to make sure the silver skin, as much as the silver skin is off on both sides of it, and then all you got to do is just open it up. We're just going to take some olive oil and gently or lightly dredge, hopefully I don't pour too much on here, the inside, and we're going to do the outside too, and then coat it with some salt and pepper. And we're going to stuff it with blue cheese, the basil, the salt and pepper, and the garlic, and then we'll be ready to throw them on the grill. So you don't have to go much. I like basil, so I typically stuff it a little bit more heavily on the basil side. Add the blue cheese crumbs. Now you don't have to do blue cheese, but it really does kind of make the whole meal pop a little bit. If it's too strong for you, you can pick any type of cheese you want, mozzarella, or I've never tried it with cheddar, I guess, but that's totally your call. Then we'll add some garlic. I should actually put this garlic on before I did the blue cheese, but that's alright. I'm doing about a half teaspoon each, maybe a little bit more. Once you have it all set, just close them up, and you actually go ahead and season the outside with just some salt and pepper. Alright, what we did, we got the pan super hot. We're going to sear this. We got a little bit of olive oil on there. Now we take our stuffed venison. We're going to use just tongs. And we're going to roll it around and sear it on all sides. Some of the stuff's going to fall out, that's okay. We'll make sure we press the ends up against the edges just so the ends get seared as well. And we'll be ready to throw her in the oven. Again, we're going to do the same thing to the second one. Sear it on all ends. We set our oven temp to 350. So after we're done searing them, we're going to bake them in there at 350 degrees for a half hour to 35 minutes, which will give you about a medium rare to medium cut in the center. Now what we got, we just have the two halves in a regular baking pan. We got the oven preset at 350, and at this point now we're going to start making the sauce, which really kind of, in my opinion, sets this dish apart from any venison I've ever had. So we'll get going on that. Alright, we still have that pan on really high heat. Now what we're going to do is called deglazing. I have no idea what that is, but Jamie just told me to do this. So you take red cooking wine, about 8 to 10 ounces, and we're just going to spread it around that pan. Now some of the drippings got in there, or that fell out of the meat. That's okay. That's going to kind of add to our flavor. Alright, so we have the 8 to 10 ounces of red cooking wine. Now I'm just going to throw in 2 bay leaves and the fresh basil, the leftover fresh basil that we have. We don't need a whole lot. And then we're going to add 2 cloves of garlic, and we're just going to let this reduce down to half. Alright, now that we've reduced the red wine down to about half, we're going to add 2 cups of water with chicken stock bouillon, or if you just have chicken stock, that works too. About 2 cups of it, and we're just going to add that and then reduce that down to half. So this process of making this sauce takes approximately a half hour. So it actually works nice while the meat's cooking that you're making this, and it works good. All I did was put 2 teaspoons in a half cup of cold water. I put some ice in it to get it super cold. Just mix it up a little bit, and what we already did, we reduced that other stuff down to half, and now I'm just going to add this, and we're going to reduce it a bit again, and it's going to start to thicken up, and this will be our sauce that goes over top of the meat. Well, I forgot to mention it's 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. Probably asking 2 teaspoons of what, but yep, 2 teaspoons of cornstarch in ice cold water. Add it to it. Now we're going to reduce it down and let it thicken up. Alright, last step, we're just going to strain out all the basil and all the stuff, just because we don't want chunks like that in there, so I just got a little strainer. And you may not think it's a lot of sauce, but the sauce actually goes a decent amount of ways for the meal, and in all the truth of the matter, it's worth it. So, alright, we had this in the oven, center rack for 35 minutes at 350 degrees. We stuffed everything, just to recap. Coated everything with olive oil, salt and pepper. We stuffed it with basil, garlic, and some blue cheese. Seared it on the outside, put it back in the oven. This is what we have left from the sauce that we made. Now all that's left is slicing it up in about inch chunks. As you can see, take a look at the middle. That's perfect medium, medium rare. There you go. Put the sauce on top of that. Enjoy. We got garlic mashed potatoes, some green beans. We're set.